The gray and white breath is like a silk ribbon, flying thousands of kilometers without dissipating. Wherever the breath passed, the desert on one side rotted instantly, the yellow sand turned into pitch black, and melted silently. On the other side, clumps of green plants appeared on the yellow sand, turning the yellow sand into an oasis. The power of life and death is undoubtedly displayed in this breath. The strange image behind him disappeared, and the strange stars dispersed with it. Layer upon layer of laws also rolled back like waves, and all returned to Lin Moyu's body. Lin Moyu didn't know how long had passed, and lost the concept of time in Wang Desert. His realm is still the 7th level of the true God, and he has not made any progress. His soul has not been strengthened, his realm has not been improved, but he has consolidated the foundation and firmly grasped all the laws that should be mastered before. Now if he had some soul power, he could step into the 8th or even the 9th level of the true God without any scruples. Every time a level is raised, the combat power of will be greatly improved. For those demons in the deep area, Lin Moyu has put them on the must-kill list. Unless they flee now, they must die. Converge all the breath of law and look not far away. Not far away, a pile of crystal nuclei is reflecting the light of the fireball in the sky, which is very dazzling. The power of the soul was swept away, and the accurate number was quickly obtained. There are 3,565 crystal nuclei of the 7th Order God King, and 52 crystal nuclei of the 8th Order God King. Counting the previous crystal nuclei, there are now a total of 5,216 7th Order crystal nuclei and 132 8th Order crystal nuclei. If all are converted into 7th Order crystal nuclei, the total is 653 pieces. There are still 3,467 crystal nuclei short of the 10,000 7th Order crystal nuclei needed to summon the boss monster. Originally, there shouldn't be so few 8th level crystal nuclei. The ones responsible for hunting down the 8th level monsters are the resurrected stone demons, and they are all stone demons of the 8th level God King. They are very efficient at first, but then gradually decrease in efficiency as people continue to be injured. After 100 days, the resurrection time arrives, and the resurrection collapses at the same time, and no 8th Order crystal nucleus is recorded. The undead army is tireless and has been hunting and killing monsters of the 7th rank of the King of Gods. However, they also encountered a similar problem. After 100 days, the stone golem reanimator collapsed because of the tank. Efficiency also inevitably drops. Of the more than 3,000 7th Order crystal nuclei, half were hunted by the stone demon resurrected before their collapse. At that time, Lin Moyu was in the state of comprehending the law, and he had no time to manage it. After knowing this information, Lin Moyu calculated from the efficiency of hunting monsters that it should take him more than 300 days to comprehend the law this time. The time of cultivation passed too fast, he was just laying a solid foundation again, not improving his realm. If you want to improve your realm and comprehend new laws, it may take many years in the blink of an eye. Lin Moyu has experienced retreat, so he can't choose to improve his realm here. Even if you want to retreat, you have to go back to the world of the human race and enter the House of Time. There are still 358th level crystals, that is, 358th level monsters of the King of Gods. Looks like I'll have to do it myself. 358th Order crystals are 3,500 7th Order crystals. According to the current efficiency of the undead army, it will take about 5 days. Lin Moyu didn't want to wait any longer, he decided to do it himself. Relying on the 2 original techniques, he knew that he only needed to raise his realm to the 8th level of God King, and hunting monsters of the same level should not be difficult. While hunting monsters to obtain crystals, they might be able to absorb enough soul power. He is only a short distance away from the 8th rank of the true God, and as long as he has some soul power, he can smoothly advance to the 8th rank of the God King. With the improvement of combat power, soul improvement, and stronger endurance, he will be more confident in penetrating the deep area. Taking back the undead army, Lin Moyu walked in the direction of the 8 ball. He is now in the area covered by fireball number 6, bordering both fireballs 8 and 9. Lin Moyu didn't pay attention to anything, just chose one at random. Whichever you choose, the plot points are the same. Leaving the stronghold, I walked for half a day at a leisurely pace, and finally felt a different breath. In the previous area, the law of sand and stone was the main theme, and the breath of the law of the earth was relatively weak. But from now on, the laws of earth type began to stand out, and the sand and stone became relatively weaker. Lin Moyu knew that he had entered the area of the 8th level monster of the King of Gods. Unlike before, there is only one kind of monster in the 8th rank of God King. The name of the monster is the Giant of the Earth, and its height is uniformly 15 meters. Usually, they are motionless like sculptures. Once they enter their territory, they will instantly resurrect and attack the intruders. The Earth Giant is wearing the Law of the Earth. The Law is armored, and its defense is extremely amazing. It is much stronger than the Yellow Sand Demon Eye, and it is even comparable to the Stone Demon of the same realm. At the same time, their attack power is also extremely astonishing. Their bodies are made of yellow sand. Under the effect of the Law of the Earth, their bodies are compressed to the extreme. The heavy testicles reach an appalling level. Just like the sand rain used by the Yellow Sand Demon Eye, each drop of sand weighs 1,000,000 catties. It is just like this that one grain weighs as much as 100 seeds, and then combined into a giant of the earth. One can imagine what kind of weight the people of the earth have reached. Every earth giant weighs as much as a star. With one punch, stars can be shattered. They stepped on the lowest desert, taking the Law of the Earth as the ground, and they could move freely in the desert, turning into an extremely terrifying monster. Lin Moyu was thinking about the information about the Earth Giant. There is only one way to kill the Earth Giant, and that is to cut off its head. In addition, no matter whether you cut off your limbs or puncture your heart, it will have no effect. They have no heart at all, and they can only be killed by cutting off their heads. Soon, a huge statue appeared in front of him. A giant with a golden body and hands in the shape of holding the sky stands in the yellow sand. The warning range of the Earth Giants exceeds 10,000 meters. As long as they get close to it, they will wake up. Before they wake up, all attacks have no effect on them. In other words, thinking about long-range strikes on them at 10,000 meters will not have any effect. Lin Moyu knew that this was a rule of the lowest desert, and he could only abide by it, just like he had to abide by the rules of dungeons in the small world. If it was before, Lin Moyu might choose to take a detour. But at the moment, there was a faint light on Lin Moyu's body, and his aura rose rapidly. Shuyuan's spell, Julie. His aura was rising steadily, breaking through to the God King realm almost instantly, and then soaring all the way. In less than 2 seconds, the aura stabilized at the limit of the 8th level God King. As long as you go forward a little bit, you will reach the 19th level of God. The light of the Julie technique just went out, and the light belonging to the Strengthened Soldiers technique shined again. With the blessing of Strength Soldier technique, all attack damage is strengthened by 10 times, and the opponent's soul can be absorbed. Lin Moyu's combat power has truly reached the limit of the 8th rank of God King. With the blessing of the 2 original spells, Lin Moyu's soul can't last long, and he needs to keep killing enemies to replenish. Lin Moyu's eyes were full of fighting spirit. He let out a light drink, and rushed out with his whole body. As soon as you step into the 10,000-meter area, you will be overwhelmed by the local giants. Dazzling golden light bloomed from his body, the Law of the Earth surged wildly, and at the same time, an invisible giant force fell, covering Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu, who was rushing forward, sank. The huge gravity made his momentum go straight down, and he almost plunged into the sand. Lin Moyu reacted extremely quickly, adjusted his center of gravity in an instant, and regained his original momentum. Not only did the speed not slow down, but it became faster. He turned into a streamer, and at the fastest speed the lowest desert could accept, he came in front of the Earth Giant in the blink of an eye. Holding the sharp-boned sword brought from the Skeleton King in his hand, he cut out a simple and unpretentious sword. The sword-like cut through the yellow sand and landed on the Earth Giant, making an ear-piercing rubbing sound. The extremely sharp-boned sword cut a huge hole in the body of the Earth Giant, exposing the yellow-orange sand inside. The Earth Giant has no bones, no blood, and the sand is its bones and flesh. The body of the Earth Giant is composed of grains of sand weighing 1,000,000 jins, and its entire body weighs indefinitely, comparable to a star. Such weight, such density, pushed the defense of the Earth Giant to the limit. Lin Moyu felt that he was stronger than the Stone Demon of the same realm. Lin Moyu moved quickly, cutting out hundreds of swords in an instant. The sound of rubbing was extremely unpleasant, accompanied by the gust of wind, echoing between heaven and earth. The Earth Giant's body was full of wounds, but as the yellow sand flowed, the wounds were recovering rapidly. The next moment, the Earth Giant recovered completely, its 20-meter high body twisted, and a huge slap came down, like slapping a mosquito. Although the Earth Giant has a large body, its speed is astonishingly fast, which is different from the Stone Demon. At the same time as the slap was slapped, a huge force from all directions fell on Lin Moyu, like countless giant hands, firmly grasping Lin Moyu, making him unable to escape. This is the power of the law of the earth. Use the power of the law to trap the opponent and make sure that your attack will not fail. Lin Moyu did not dodge or dodge, and slashed towards Judang with the same sword. Boom! The swords and palms intersected, setting off huge waves. A big hole was punched out in the slap. Lin Moyu got out of the hole, and started chopping the Earth Giant again. The Earth Giant slapped its palm on the edge of the big hole, exuding grey gas, and the sand and stones on the edge were continuously rotted and dissolved, like completely rotten flesh. This is the power of death in the law of immortality. In Lin Moyu's initial stormy attack, he did not use the law of immortality. He wanted to see if physical attacks with physical strength alone could cause damage to the giants of the earth. Injuries can indeed be caused, but only minor ones. In this way, even if it can kill the Earth Giant, it will take a lot of time. After a simple test, Lin Moyu found out the situation of the Earth Giant and began to use the law of immortality. If you want to destroy the giant of the earth, you must get rid of the law of the earth on it. Under the package of the law of the earth, the Indigo Giant has amazing defense and attack power. Especially at its neck, the law of the earth is the strongest and its defense is the most astonishing. The power of death in the law of immortality can just corrode and dissolve the law of the earth. The laws of Lin Moyu's body surged, the realm of the law of immortality opened, and strange stars rose behind him. He seldom confronts the enemy personally, and the number of times he uses the law domain is also extremely limited. Lin Moyu gives the impression that he is invincible with the help of the undead army. But few people know that Lin Moyu's law of immortality is even worse than that of the undead army. Just because the realm of the opponents he met was too high, much higher than his own, the effect of the law was greatly weakened. If it is the same realm, his enemies will be able to deeply understand the horror of the first echelon law. The field of law enveloped the giants of the earth, and the law of immortality diffused out like invisible waves. In the field of law, grey and white, there is life and death. The strange star behind the head is also grey and white, it suddenly turns, and the grey half blooms with dazzling luster. All the white in the field of laws receded, and the deadly grey turned into a thick fog, becoming the main theme. The power of death devours the giants of the earth, and the power of death continues to corrode the laws of the earth of the giants of the earth. The bone sword in Lin Moyu's hand was also covered with a layer of grey. The bone sword slashed on the earth giant, leaving many wounds far better than before. The wound was big and deep, and the wound was filled with the power of death, accelerating the erosion of the law of the earth. In the blink of an eye, the earth giant's body was already covered with wounds, and the law of the earth covering the whole body was almost chopped to pieces. If it weren't for Lin Moyu's real realm is only the 8th level of the true god, and the mastery of the law is only 24%, he would have killed the giant of the earth long ago. The law of the earth is only the law of the 3rd echelon. Although it is relatively powerful among the laws of the 3rd echelon, it is far behind the law of undead of the 1st echelon. From the law level, the law of the earth suppressed by the law of immortality. If Lin Moyu's mastery of the law reached the level of the 8th level God King, he didn't even need to move a sword, just using the law of immortality would be enough to kill the earth giant, and he would kill it quickly and easily. The earth giant fought back with anger, hitting Lin Moyu with fists and fists. It is fast, and with its heavy body, every attack is powerful enough to destroy hills. And the law of the earth can form a bondage, making it impossible for Lin Moyu to dodge. The earth giant punched like rain, hitting non-stop. Lin Moyu also slashed out with a sword, and his speed was not inferior to the giants of the earth. Do not dodge or dodge, choose head-to-head with the giants of the earth. Bone swords and giant fists collide continuously in midair. The shock waves are like raging waves, swinging outwards in circles. The yellow sand within a radius of 10,000 meters has all been swept into the sky, and the yellow sand land has obviously sunk. Under hundreds of collisions in a row, the fist of the earth giant shattered. Lin Moyu carried the sword light and cut off a pair of giant fists of the earth giant. At this time, the earth giant is under the corrosion of the law of immortality. The law of the earth outside the body is already very weak, and the formed law armor will collapse at any time. Lin Moyu's eyes fell on the neck of the earth giant, where the law of the earth is the strongest. But now compared to the beginning, it has weakened many times. He calculated the time of 753, his eyes were fixed, the law of immortality broke out in an all-round way, and he slashed out a fierce sword evil. Tell, kill God. From the beginning to now, he finally used Janshan. The sword light of slashing God shone on the neck of the earth giant, and the neck shattered violently, because the head of the earth giant flew up to Fat Chen. The huge body fell backwards and fell heavily on the yellow sand ground. The body broke into pieces, the law collapsed, and the body returned to the loess. The head also turned into sand and scattered in the air, and a crystal nucleus fell out of it. The crystal nucleus of the 8th Order God King is still 349 yuan short. Lin Moyu put away the crystal nucleus, and together with the crystal nucleus, there is also a soul power. The power of the soul is not strong, it is less than that of the stone demon who kills the same realm. It is only about 1/3 of the stone demon in the same realm, and Lin Moyu knows that this is the difference between a monster and a real creature. Strictly speaking, the monsters in the lowest desert cannot be regarded as real creatures. Although they also have souls and even flesh and blood, they are still different from the creatures in the big world. To get 1/3 of the soul power is not bad. At least it can maintain the current state, and it can also improve his realm. The original spell dissipated, and the breath returned to its original state. Then the purple light flashed past, and the soul went through the process of collapse and recovery. After a few more seconds, Lin Moyu's aura suddenly started to rise again. The soul power obtained from the giant of the earth, after the double refinement of the talent tree and the 9-color dragon soul crystal, it becomes an incomparably pure soul power, which becomes the ladder of Lin Moyu's promotion. The soul was promoted to 1 level smoothly, from the 7th level of True God to the 8th level of True God. The origin of the soul became stronger again, and the stars of magic were shining brightly in the soul world. Although it is only a small improvement of the realm, but for the overall strength, the improvement is not small. The number of undead legions has not changed, and the 3 basic skeletons can still summon 3 million each. 1 million Death Knights, 500,000 skeleton dragons, and 1 million legion rulers. However, due to the insufficient number of undead legions, there is only 1 legion ruler who can really play a leading role. There are too few places, and there is no other way. The fighting power of the 3 basic skeletons has reached the peak of the True God realm, and even touched the level of the God King realm. The Death Knight and the Skeleton Dragon have reached the 2nd and 3rd ranks of God King respectively with the addition of the control technique. Their legion rulers have reached the 5th and 6th ranks of God Kings. The Skeleton God General has reached the 4th rank of the God King. With the improvement of the skeletons, the combat power of the Skeleton King also increased. His combat strength has reached the 8th level of the God King, enough to head-to-head with any enemy of the 8th level of the God King. As the realm of Lin Moyu's soul rises, the limit it can hold is also rising. Even if it is forcibly raised to the 6th level of the God King, the soul will still collapse. But Lin Moyu felt that he might be able to elevate his power to the level of a little god. Not as good as a god, but more than a God King. In this way, in case of encountering the little god Venerable, he can have the strength to fight without using his whole cards. A small realm has been raised, and all aspects have been enhanced. There are only 2 places that have not been enhanced. One is the physical body. The physical body is still the peak of the true God. If there is no special cultivation method, it is difficult to improve. The second is the element lich. The promotion of the element lich depends on high-quality materials. The improvement of the realm has nothing to do with the elemental demon. Lin Moyu estimated his current combat power. Because of this improvement, the efficiency of his next acquisition of crystal cores will also be greatly improved. He cooperates with the Skeleton King to kill the giants, and the efficiency will be greatly improved. Looking at the sky full of yellow sand still spinning in the air, Lin Moyu moved and continued to move towards the deep area. The closer to the deep area, the number of giants will increase, and the density will become higher. There may even be a situation where you have to face more than 2 giants of the earth at the same time. Soon, Lin Moyu saw the second earth giant. It is still exactly the same as the previous earth giant, with its hands in the shape of holding the sky, as if the fireball in the sky is about to fall. Behind it, about 20,000 meters away, there is another earth giant. Looking forward to the distance, the number of earth giants began to increase gradually, more and more. They are like sculptures, standing in the yellow sand and undergoing the baptism of wind and sand. The previous earth giant was just an appetizer, and now it is the main meal. Lin Moyu summoned tens of thousands of legion rulers, and above him, 2 skeleton thrones appeared with raging flames. The 2 skeleton kings stood up from the skeleton throne at the same time. A skeleton king is 10,000 meters tall, the strongest skeleton king that Lin Moyu can summon, and has the 8th level combat power of a god king. Another skeleton king, only 100 meters tall, is the weakest skeleton king. The combat power is not even as good as the skeleton general. The weak skeleton king throws the bone sword in his hand to Lin Moyu. What Lin Moyu needs is only its sword, not to let it fight. The original spell was activated, and the aura began to increase sharply, and it also reached the limit of the 8th level god king. Come on. With a thought, Lin Moyu rushed towards the earth giant together with the skeleton king. Beside the 10,000 meter high skeleton king, Lin Moyu is as small as a mosquito, insignificant. Even the giants of the earth in the distance are insignificant. However, the strength of combat power cannot be measured by body size. The 10,000 meter area is the warning line of the earth giant. When the 2 stepped into it, the earth giant revived suddenly, and at the same time, a huge force fell on Skeleton King and Lin Moyu. The Skeleton King was tall and unresponsive. Lin Moyu had been prepared for a long time, and it didn't have any effect. At the moment when the earth giant recovered, there was still 5 kilometers away, and the Skeleton King had already taken the lead. A huge bone sword at least 7,000 meters long cut down his head and face. With a loud bang, the earth giant was chopped into the yellow sand abruptly. A huge shock wave swept out, like a storm flying into the air. The huge size brought an unparalleled impact, and even the giants of the earth couldn't stop it. Coupled with the 10 times the damage brought by the Strength Soldier spell, the Sword of the Skeleton King has already surpassed the 8th rank of the God King in terms of pure power. Under the yellow sand, the Yindi giant dragged a huge bone sword with both hands. But it can be seen that its hands have completely collapsed, and the law of the earth is rapidly repairing. The realm of the law of immortality enveloped it here, and Lin He had already arrived. Lin Moyu wears a strange star, transforming the law into a strong force of death, quickly corroding the giants of the earth. The law of immortality not only prevents the earth giant from recovering, but also concentrates its power to corrode the earth giant's neck. Vaguely, Lin Moyu could hear the sizzling sound of the law of the earth being corroded, like cold water being poured on a hot iron block. With a move in his heart, he raised the long sword in his hand, and the Skeleton King also raised the long sword again at this moment. The movements of 10 people and 10 skeletons are exactly the same. Tell, kill God. 2 slaying gods broke out at the same time, and the target was the neck of the earth giant. This is the strongest point of the earth giant, but also its weak point. Under the 2 slayings, the neck was severed, and the head flew into the air. The body of the earth giant collapsed, its head melted into sand, and a crystal nucleus fell out. With a small increase in the realm, the combat power has been greatly improved. With the cooperation of the Skeleton King, it can be said that killing the earth giant is effortless. Lin Moyu put away the crystal nucleus, and looked at the earth giant 20,000 meters away, and even the countless earth giants behind it. Hunting now officially begins. Beyond the land of yellow sand, the Stone Demon Lord once again came to the Nightmare God Lord. With respect in his tone, Nightmare God, we have finally connected with the Stone Demon in the deep area. Nightmare God Venerable didn't ask how to get in touch, but said, has Lin Moyu entered yet? The Stone Demon Lord shook his head, haven't gone in yet, he may be collecting crystal nuclei in the middle area, preparing to summon the boss monster. Our people are ready in the deep area, as long as Lin Moyu dares to go in, he will definitely die. In the words, the Stone Demon God was full of confidence. Nightmare God Venerable was not as confident as he was, but he did not refute Stone Demon God Venerable's words. I hope so, but Lin Moyu is not easy to deal with, let your subordinates pass on the news at any time. Lord Stone Demon nodded, there is one more thing I want to tell you. Nightmare God Venerable hummed, what? The Stone Demon God Venerable said, the descendants of Lord Jinshi are also in the deep area, and we can get in touch with the deep area through Lord Jinshi. The descendants of Lord Jinshi said that he will kill Lin Moyu and will not let him come out alive. Master Jinshi's son. Nightmare God's expression changed slightly, and after a few seconds of pondering, I see, I hope so. The voice of the Stone Demon God Venerable was not soft, and the voice of the soul floated slowly in the starry sky. Many people have heard his words, but most of them don't know who the Lord Jinshi he is talking about is. However, it is obviously unusual for a dignified god to be called an adult. Even the nightmare god Venerable's eyes changed after hearing the word, Master Jinshi. Jukiwu, who was hiding in the dark, also keenly captured their conversation. A storm rose in his heart. He knew Lord Jinshi. He was an ancestor of the stone demon lineage in the demon clan. He was an old monster who lived for an unknown number of years. The realm of Jinshi has long surpassed the realm of gods, and his information is only circulated among the high-level people of the human race. The heirs of the stone demon clan are not heirs in the usual sense, but an existence similar to a clone, but different from a clone. The sons of stone demons are a part of the main body of the stone demon clan, and at the same time have independent souls and consciousness, which can be regarded as the continuation of life. Clone is very important, but far less important than offspring. These are not the key to the problem. The key is the special blood of the stone demon family. In the final stage of each great realm, the stone demon will undergo a transformation. The 9th level of super gods, the 9th level of true gods, and the 9th level of god kings are all like this. After each transformation, the defense power will be greatly improved. Among them, the transformation of the 9th rank of the god king, in addition to the 120% defense increase, will also bring a special ability to the stone demon, that is the ability to recover. After the stone demon enters the dying state, it will have a chance to recover and return to its peak in a very short period of time. After using this ability once, you only need to wait for a while before you can use it again. This ability gave the stone demon a stronger protection ability. The defensive power of the stone demon was originally one of the best in the same realm. After 3 transformations in a row, its defensive power is even stronger. Especially with the recovery ability, it becomes even more difficult to kill the stone demon. But the stone demon still has shortcomings, that is, its brain is not flexible enough, its comprehension of laws is very slow, its cultivation speed is not fast, and its attack power is insufficient. But all of this will change at the 9th level of God Venerable. At the 9th level of God Venerable, the stone demon will undergo another transformation, the 4th transformation. This metamorphosis is very important and dangerous for stone demons, and most of them will die in this metamorphosis. It can be said that the vast majority of stone demons can't reach the 9th level of gods, and even if they reach the 9th level of gods, most of them will die during the transformation. But the big world is fair. The more dangerous the thing, the greater the benefits once it succeeds. After the 4th successful transformation, the stone demon will become intelligent. Even if it is not extremely intelligent, it will not be weaker than any other race. Not only will it become smarter, but the defense of the stone demon will be strengthened again, almost reaching the level of the first in the same realm. There are only a few races in the big world that can compare with it. In addition, the recovery ability has been greatly improved, and there is another chance of recovery, making it more difficult to kill them. But this is not the end, but the real beginning. If stone demons were just an ordinary race in the Hell series of demons before, then after the 9th level of deity, they became a top race. Especially after surpassing the God Venerable, the stone demon race will also have a new special ability. And this special ability can be passed on. It cannot be given to clones, but it can be given to heirs. Jinshi's descendants must inherit Jinshi's special ability, but Shengjiwu doesn't know what kind of special ability it is. But he knew that with this special ability, the combat power of the stone demon would be terrifying. The 9th rank of the God King may be able to match the small god. If it is a small god, maybe it can compete with the real god. Jukiwu is not worried about Lin Moyu's safety, he is worried that this mission may fail. But Lin Moyu also has a whole card. If he is ruthless, it is not impossible to kill Jinshi's heir. Will that provoke Jinshi to make a bold move? On the number 10 starry sky fortress of the human race, Jukiwu's body opened his eyes, holding a jade tablet in his hand. The soul power communication jade tablet reported the situation in the lowest desert. He explained his worries, mainly because he was worried that the Jinshi of the demon clan would do it brazenly. Although there are regulations above, an existence like Jinshi cannot do it himself. But not afraid of 10,000, BGBH, just in case. In that way, even if Lin Moyu has the cards to save his life, even if he makes a move, Lin Moyu's life will not be guaranteed. After a few moments, he got a reply. There are only 3 words in the reply, got it. After receiving these 3 words, Yijiwu was determined. He knew that the adults above would definitely stare at Jinshi and would not let him act rashly. In the lowest desert, Lin Moyu killed more smoothly and faster. The earth giants fell down one after another, and almost every one of them couldn't hold on for more than 1 minute. Lin Moyu cooperated tacitly with the Skeleton King and killed them all the way. In less than a day, Lin Moyu has collected 358th order crystal nuclei. Even if it is necessary to collect 1000 8th order crystal nuclei from scratch, it is not difficult for Lin Moyu, and it will not exceed 4 days at most. 4 days can be worth Lu Mo's decades of hard work, and the difference in efficiency between the two is too great. This also further shows that the attack power of the stone demon itself is too weak and has too many restrictions. However, Lin Moyu didn't mean to underestimate the stone demon. The stone demon's ability to become the main member of the demon family's hell line must have its merits. According to the data of the human race, because of its strong defensive power, the stone demon also makes it difficult for cultivators of all races on the battlefield. Having collected enough crystal nuclei, Lin Moyu retreated thousands of kilometers and chose an open area. There is yellow sand everywhere, and there are empty areas everywhere. The so-called open space means that there are no extra monsters around. The breath gradually sank, the effect of the original spell passed, and Lin Moyu's soul collapsed uncontrollably. In the purple light of Xeon talent, the soul reorganized again and returned to the peak. After repeated killings and gaining a lot of soul power, Lin Moyu's soul was strengthened again. It's just that there is still a little distance from the 9th level of the true god. Lin Moyu waited for the cooldown of the talent to end, which was the same as taking out the crystal cores and stacking them together. Thousands of crystal nuclei piled up to form a hill, which reflected yellow fluorescence under the fiery light, which was very beautiful. Originally, each crystal nucleus is independent of each tube and does not affect each other. When the number exceeds the rule limit, all crystal nuclei burst out at the same time with a bright light that is far stronger than usual. The rays of light from the crystal nucleus gathered together, and then turned into a beam of light, heading straight into the sky. The sky was rendered golden yellow, even covering the light of the fireball. Not only does it cover up the light, but even the heat is blocked by the golden sky. The earth raised yellow sand all over the sky, covering the sky and blocking out the sun. The sky gradually darkened, and the temperature dropped sharply. In less than 5 minutes, the temperature dropped almost to freezing point. From the scorching heat that was enough to burn to death a true god and a low-level god king, it has dropped to a level that is close to freezing point. Lin Moyu saw a layer of frost appearing on the yellow sand. Immediately afterwards, a heavy rain poured down. There is water in the lowest desert. Pieces of oases are the best proof. The existence of water naturally means the existence of the water element, and the oasis will not be evaporated, from which Lin Moyu felt the law of the water system. In the sudden rainstorm at this moment, Lin Moyu also felt the law of the water system. The rain became heavier and heavier, the rain wetted the sand, and the sand flying all over the sky turned into mud and fell. The earth became wet, from sand to mud. The world became pitch black, and I couldn't see my fingers. Boom! Lightning roared and fell on the mud, splashing a large amount of mud and rock. In the brief light, Lin Moyu saw a touch of greenery. Where the crystal nuclei were piled up before, a touch of lush greenery is thriving. Facing the wind and rain, it grew up rapidly and became more and more burly. Boom! Again thunder and lightning fell on it, and it burned into flames, which were quenched by the rain. Not only was it not destroyed by lightning, but it became even stronger. In just a few minutes, it has grown from a small seedling to a towering tree. It absorbs the power of the earth, the power of rain, the power of thunder and lightning. The skin of the big tree began to blacken, turning into an extremely strong tree shell. The big tree is still growing, 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters. It is getting thicker and thicker, taller and taller. Huge vines hang down and grow one by one. Each vine is more than 5 meters in diameter, not like vines at all, more like giant sticks. Being drawn by it, the body is afraid that it will be torn apart directly. Even if Lin Moyu had the physical body of the peak of a true god, he couldn't bear it a few times. There are thousands of such vines, endless. There are many new young leaves growing on the vine, and there are dense barbs between the leaves. Each barb is half a meter long, and the tip is so sharp that it can definitely prick a person into a big hole. Finally, the big tree freezes when it grows 1,000 meters and stops growing. It has covered the sky and the sun, just one tree, like a whole forest. The branches and leaves are so dense that even the light cannot penetrate, and the area around its trunk is like a black cloth. This is a leader-level monster, whose strength has reached the limit of the 8th level God King. It looks not much different from the tree monster, but it is far taller than the tree monster. Even if thousands of tree monsters are tied together, they are no match for it. Those countless vines whipped over, enough to instantly kill the tree monster. Lin Moyu had already retreated when the rainstorm fell. He quietly watched the appearance of the boss monster, and saw all the changes in his eyes. He knew that he couldn't hurt the opponent until the leader monster was fully formed, so there was no need to worry. The yellow light in the sky gradually dissipated, the heavy rain stopped, and the yellow sand stopped flying. Lin Moyu suddenly received a message at this moment. Open black lens bracket boss monster, Tree of Death. Boundary, God King 8th rank. Restriction, if the attacker's realm cannot exceed 2 levels of the Tree of Death, if it exceeds, no items will be dropped. If it exceeds the first level, the drop rate is halved. The Tree of Death exists for 2 hours. The news was directly reflected in his mind. When Lin Moyu received the news, his whole body went numb. Before, he felt that the lowest desert was somewhat similar to the copy in the small world. Now I suddenly received a reminder, it is exactly the same as the copy in the small world. What the hell, what's going on in my little world? Lin Moyu's mind was surging, and he suddenly discovered that the small world he was born in was very different from the big world. In my own small world, it seems to be full of secrets, big secrets. Suddenly a sense of danger arose in my heart, and I saw a black shadow drawing towards me in my sight. A vine crossed tens of thousands of meters of space, and slammed down. Immediately exert force under the feet, and move several hundred meters sideways. The vines pulled out a huge gap hundreds of meters deep on the yellow sandy ground. The sand in the gap turned scorched black as if it had been struck by lightning. Immediately afterwards, another vine whipped towards him, and Lin Moyu immediately dodged. He didn't want to be drawn, so he wouldn't die, but it would definitely be uncomfortable. The Tree of Death danced wildly with its vines, hitting Lin Moyu from various angles and methods. Lin Moyu was very flexible and kept dodging. His previous thoughts were interrupted by the attack of the Tree of Death, and now he turned his attention to the Tree of Death. The Tree of Death absorbs the 3 forces of the earth, rain, thunder and lightning. The law of the earth gave it a tyrannical defense, and it gave it an attack. The law of the water system gave it a strong recovery ability, and as a plant monster, it has a strong vitality. In addition, he is the leader monster, and his vitality is even stronger. Lin Moyu pondered in his heart for a while, knowing that even if he raised his strength to the 9th level of God King, it would be difficult to kill the Tree of Death. The Tree of Death was originally a boss monster, not for one person, but for a group of people. If the stone demon wanted to kill the Tree of Death, hundreds of 7th level God Kings and dozens of 8th level God Kings went up together, and then it took a lot of effort to kill it. Asking for flowers. Lin Moyu snuffed out the idea of doing it himself, it was a bit unrealistic. In the absence of external supplements, after the blessing of dual source spells, the soul power will continue to flow, and it won't last long, and it's too late to kill the Tree of Death. If you don't use the original technique, then there are only a handful of methods left. First of all, the undead army must be hopeless. Although the Skeleton King has the 8th level combat power of a God King, there is only one after all. If there are 10 or 8, you can try it, but unfortunately there is only one. Lin Moyu resolutely gave up. The Death Knight Legion and the Bone Dragon Legion are also not good, the difference in combat power is too great. The 2 legions of ordinary monsters of the 8th rank of the King of Gods can still fight together, let alone the leader rank, and the food is given away. With the size of the Tree of Death, it is not afraid of beatings at all. The last skeleton god general, with the mere 4th level combat strength of the God King, even if he implements the scraping tactics, it is estimated that he cannot catch up with the recovery speed of the Tree of Death. If you can't do it yourself, the undead army will do it. Then there are only 2 methods left, Elemental Lich and Corpse Burst. Lin Moyu has 2 copies of the flesh and blood of the 9th level stone demon of the God King, and more than a dozen copies of the flesh and blood of the 8th level stone demon of the God King, but Lin Moyu is not sure whether he can kill the other party. After all, this is a leader level monster, and it is of the plant type. With the law of the water system, its vitality is incredibly strong. Moreover, the flesh and blood of the 9th level God King is still useful, whether you can use it or not. As for the flesh and blood of the Void Wolf, it is the material of the God realm, and it is a whole card for life-saving. Lin Moyu will not use it unless it is absolutely necessary. After a little calculation of gains and losses, Lin Moyu already had an idea in his mind. The star Lich, as beautiful and dreamy as a starry sky, came out in response, turning into a beautiful galaxy and appearing on top of the Tree of Death. The beautiful galaxy reflected a hazy light, covering the Tree of Death. Chaos suddenly appeared in the attack of the Tree of Death. It was originally chasing Lin Moyu, but now it suddenly moved to another position. As a leader-level monster, its vitality even exceeds the 9th-level God King, and its attack is also close to the 9th-level God King. But I have to admit that it is still the existence of the 8th-level God King, and it will also be affected by the illusion. The Starlight Lich interweaved illusions, disrupting its attack. Then the flames danced around Lin Moyu, and the Flame Lich leaped out. A blazing Law Galaxy appeared in the sky again, and the Law Galaxy poured down, and the fierce flames enveloped the Tree King of Death. The Tree of Death became crazy in the flames, countless vines fluttered and whipped indiscriminately. The hot flames burned the vines and ignited the branches, and the huge vines were swallowed by the flames. The flames became more and more fierce, and the Flame Lich of the 9th rank of the King of Gods summoned the projection of the Law of the Galaxy, with a nearly perfect Law of Fire, devouring the life of the Tree of Death. The Tree of Death fell into madness, and Kuo Chia beat harder and harder. In this kind of attack comparable to a map cannon, the Flame Lich was inevitably attacked. But the Fire Lich is made of elements and has no real entity. Ordinary physical attacks can't hurt it, only laws can hurt it. It hid in the projection of the Law Galaxy, greatly weakening the attack of the Tree of Death, and did not suffer any damage. It was impossible to go so smoothly. The illusion of the Star Lich blinded the perception of the Tree of Death, making it unable to attack the Flame Lich with all its strength. It seemed that he had the upper hand, but Lin Yu did not take it lightly. If boss-level monsters are so easy to deal with, then they are not worthy of being called boss monsters. 10 minutes later, the vines were burnt to pieces, and the yellow sandy ground was covered with a layer of pitch-black ash. It was the ashes left after the vines of the Tree of Death were burned to death. The flames had already spread to the main pole of the Tree of Death, starting to burn the main pole. It seems that the Tree of Death has no resistance, and victory is in sight. The 1,000-meter main pole, which still looks lush, can burn for a long time even if it is burned. Suddenly, the earth trembled violently, and the yellow sand land suddenly rolled like waves. Sand dunes rose from the ground, and then the sand dunes exploded, and countless roots were pulled out from the ground. The rhizomes are thicker than vines and exude amazing vitality. The Tree of Death is so huge, it can be imagined that its root system should also be very developed. At this time, the rhizome was pulled out from the ground and appeared in Lin Moyu's eyes. Lin Moyu's pupils shrank slightly, and his eyes became serious. Together with the rhizomes, there are also large expanses of clear water. The clear water carries a strong law of the water system, like a series of fountains, spraying out from the ground. Almost in an instant, nearly 100 fountains appeared on the land of Huangshi. The clear water from the fountain fell on the branches, temporarily blocking the fire. The law of the water system waters the Tree of Death, and a strong vitality rises. The burnt vines are regrowing rapidly, growing one by one, at a very fast speed. In just 2 minutes, the previously burned vines were reborn. Even the charred part of the tree trunk was restored. The water is still gushing, and it seems to turn this place into an oasis. Lin Moyu stared. He felt the law of the almost endless water system under the ground. There is a dark river underground. Lin Moyu already knew the answer. He realized that there is a dark river underground, otherwise how could there be so much water? Moreover, these waters are the water of law, and they are not afraid of being burned by flames at all. Now even if the Flame Lich tried his best, it would be difficult to burn him to death. The leader monster is indeed not so easy to deal with. It is completely different from ordinary monsters. When Lin Moyu thinks of the previous dungeons, this is often the case. The boss monster is equivalent to the boss in the dungeon, so naturally it is not so easy to kill. The recovered Tree of Death launched another attack, and the reborn vines were covered with a layer of water. Fire Lich's damage to it has been greatly reduced. When the vines whipped, there was a crackling sound, as if lightning was flowing through the vines. The vines are too dense, constantly pumping out the law of the element demon to project the galaxy. The law of the galaxy was shaking. Lin Moyu made the Flame Lich shrink the law galaxy, reducing the probability of being attacked, and temporarily did not need it to attack. From the current point of view, the Flame Lich's attack has lost its effect, and the damage caused cannot keep up with the recovery speed of the Tree of Death. Lin Moyu thought about the method. It's just that it's not easy to kill, but it doesn't mean it can't be killed. The stone demons rely on the number of people to push him over. As long as there are 100 or so 8th level God Kings, they can still be pushed over under a strong attack. If there are not so many 8th level God Kings, is it enough to replace them with a 9th level God King? 3 9th level God Kings, plus a dozen stone demons of 8th level God Kings, it should be almost enough. The drop rate of a 9th level God King is halved, and the drop rate of several more is also halved, and it will not be affected. Is this a loophole? Originally, I wanted to get rid of the boss monster with the least cost, but now it seems that it can't be done. Fortunately, due to the influence of the illusion, the boss monster has no resistance. As long as he can solve it in the remaining time, he can get the key. Lin Moyu didn't think about it anymore, and took out a piece of flesh and blood from the 9th level stone demon of the God King. The undead flames burned blazingly, a large number of stones were born out of thin air, the body was reborn, and the soul was reorganized. 10 seconds later, a stone demon of the 9th rank of God King appeared beside Lin Moyu. Immediately afterwards, Lin Moyu took out all the flesh and blood of the 8th level stone demon of the God King. The undead flame exploded, turning all the 8th level stone enclosures of the God King into Chia Shengni. A total of 18 stone demons of the 8th rank of the God King, and 1 stone demon of the 9th rank of the God King. Immediately after the skeleton throne appeared, the skeleton king, the 8th rank God King, got up from the throne. The skeleton king is 10,000 meters tall, taller than the Tree of Death. But in terms of combat power, it is indeed not as good as the Tree of Death. Lin Moyu took a deep breath. It started. His aura is rising steadily, and he once again opened the original technique. There was a shimmering light on his body, and with the blessing of Julie technique, his strength increased rapidly, and he reached the 9th rank of the God King in a blink of an eye, and it was the peak of the 9th rank of the God King. There was a burst of pain in the soul, warning Lin Moyu that the soul would collapse at any time. Then the twilight changed, strengthened the military technique to hang up again. The soul power is consumed rapidly, but what it brings is huge power. Be it the Flame Lich, there are a total of 19 God Kings of the 8th rank and 3 God Kings of the 9th rank. Lin Moyu doesn't believe that he can't kill the Tree of Death. Rush. With an order, all the stone demons curled up into a ball, turned into stone balls and slammed into the Tree of Death. They were so powerful that they broke one vine after another. The vines of the Tree of Death were too dense, and there were not many gaps left between them, frantically whipping. At this time, the skeleton king waved the bone sword, and the technique, kill the gods. The sword light exploded on a large number of vines, and the vines snapped off, cutting a passage for the stone demons. Lin Moyu turned into light and rushed over at the fastest speed. He surpassed the stone demon and rushed into the passage cut by the skeleton king first. There are still a large number of vines in the passage. Lin Moyu also swung his sword, the technique, slay god. Exactly the same technique as the Skeleton King, but more powerful than the Skeleton King. He is the pinnacle of the 9th rank of God King, and it is normal for him to be powerful. A large number of vines were broken, and although the Tree of Death was trapped in an illusion, it also felt that it was being attacked. The next moment, more vines whipped over. Lin Moyu swung the bone sword, cutting off all Shimo who was whipping him. The Skeleton King also came at this moment, and the bone sword he swung was even bigger, and a large vine was broken with a single sweep. The Skeleton King's attack attracted the Tree of Death, and the Tree of Death instinctively concentrated the attack in the direction of the Skeleton King, and Lin Moyu and the Stone Demon's path became smooth. Lin Moyu opened the law field, and the huge law field wrapped the branches of the Tree of Death. Strange stars rose behind him, and all the laws of immortality were transformed into the power of death in an instant. The law of immortality is like waves, like thick fog, covering the Tree of Death layer by layer. The Tree of Death is covered with a layer of water, and the water contains the law of the water system, which greatly weakens the damage of the Flame Lich. At this time, the law of immortality collided with the law of the water system, quickly dissolving the law of the water system, and turning the water flow into ordinary clear water. Without the law of the water system, it would be difficult to resist the attack of the Flame Demon. The Flame Lich took advantage of the situation, and white water mist rose rapidly, and a large amount of water was evaporated, making a sizzling sound. The fire shrouded the Tree of Death again. The Tree of Death instinctively felt the danger coming, and it became even crazier. The vines whipped, and the roots shook wildly. The yellow sand was flying in the air, and the vines flew out of the yellow sand, hitting the Skeleton King densely over a distance of tens of thousands of meters. In fact, in the illusion, the Tree of Death cannot lock the Skeleton King at all, it can only roughly judge a direction. The Skeleton King is too big, with a body as high as 10,000 meters, it is impossible to dodge all the vines. The Skeleton King swung his bone sword, cutting off a large number of vines. Suddenly the ground collapsed, and countless rhizomes flew out from the ground, entangled it tightly. The rhizome was pulled violently, and the huge force 16 pulled the Skeleton King to drill underground. The Skeleton King lost his center of gravity and fell down. At this time, countless vines whipped over and landed on Skeleton King's body, and the bones were cut off for a while, flying out scattered. The Skeleton King's body was filled with white light, and the Legion ruler quickly healed him. The ground roared, and the yellow sand land with a radius of 100,000 meters suddenly collapsed at the same time, and the ruler of the Legion lost his balance at the same time. In the yellow sandy land below a radius of 100,000 meters, countless roots gushed out at the same time. The development of the root system of the Tree of Death is extremely astonishing. The treatment was interrupted, and under the intensive attack of the vines, in less than half a second, the Skeleton King's body was torn apart and collapsed. The power of the illusion has weakened. Lin Moyu's heart trembled, he sensed the message from the Star Lich. Although the Tree of Death is only at the 8th rank of God King, it is a leader monster, and the power it consumes to cast illusions on it is far more than the 8th rank of other God Kings. It is even more difficult than dealing with the 9th rank of God King. After maintaining it for more than 10 minutes, the Starlight Lich's phantom power began to gradually weaken. This also made the Tree of Death probably sense the existence of the Skeleton King, and directly launched a strong attack. Skeleton King was destroyed. Lin Moyu was not surprised. Big size is the advantage of Skeleton King, but also his disadvantage. At this moment, he and the stone demons had already rushed under the Tree of Death, and the mission of the Skeleton King was declared complete. The stone demons quickly transformed into normal shapes. They stretched out their bodies, waved their huge fists, and smashed towards the Tree of Death. There was a hazy light on the stone, and the law of earth and stone was carried on the fist, one punch after another, falling like iron. Stone demons' attack is unpretentious, without gorgeous skills, only fist-to-flesh blows. They don't have any special abilities, they transform again and again, and master a small amount of spells, all to enhance the defense. In terms of attack power, it is not strong, and belongs to the weak in the same realm. But their stamina is astonishing, they can attack continuously, as long as they are given time, the total damage they cause will not be small. The fists were as dense as rain, and holes were punched out of the solid tree shell. The bark explodes, revealing the flesh inside. The stone demons didn't show any intention of stopping, and their offensive became more fierce, smashing the tree flesh into pieces. The bone sword in Lin Moyu's hand did not stop, the sword light flashed, and a large piece of bark was cut into pieces under the sword. His strength is very powerful, reaching the limit of the 9th level of the God King, and the damage he caused alone is comparable to all stone demons. The law of water on the surface of the Tree of Death has been corroded by the law of immortality, the water is evaporated by the flame lich, and the flames wrap the Tree of Death again. The Tree of Death felt the threat of life, and the entire trunk began to shake violently. A large number of leaves flew down from the tree, and each leaf was more than 1 meter in diameter, which was extremely huge. The leaves danced in the air, and then exploded. The moment the leaves exploded, thunder and lightning roared, and countless electric snakes flew out, interweaving into a dense grid, covering Lin Moyu and all the stone demons. Both the Flame Lich and the Starlight Lich were affected by the power grid, and the summoned Law Galaxy projection also kept shaking and trembling, as if it would collapse at any time. The electric snake hit the stone demon, causing Shi Wei's skin to be torn apart. For a while, the stone demon fell into a paralyzed state, making it difficult to attack. Lin Moyu is not affected by the abnormal state, although the lightning law in the electric snake can also cause damage to him, but it is still within the tolerance range. The undead in the magic star shared his damage, and the Legion ruler continued to treat the undead. It's the map cannon again. If you can't hit it, you can fire the map cannon, as expected of the boss monster, it's really smart. The Tree of Death is affected by illusions, making it difficult to lock specific targets. Even though the illusion has weakened, the target of himself and the stone demon is too small. To the tree of death, it is like a bird on the tree. Therefore, the map cannon has become the best choice, covering the attack in all directions, and no one can escape. The stone demon froze in place, unable to move, and fell into paralysis from being attacked by the electric snake. The electric snake seemed to have eyes, sensed the stone demon being attacked, and started to focus fire. A large number of electric snakes flew over, trying to kill the stone demon. Lin Moyu shrank his eyes. He knew it was because the number of stone demons was too small. If there are hundreds of stone demons of the 8th rank of God Kings, they don't have to be afraid of this kind of map cannon attack. The electric snake attack has the same characteristics as its own spells. The more targets it attacks, the less powerful it will be. As long as the number of golems is sufficient, the damage can be shared. But now he has less than 20 stone demons, obviously at a disadvantage. With a ruthless heart, explode. An order was issued in the consciousness, and then 3 loud bangs were heard. A stone demon suddenly exploded, and a huge force swept out. The stone demon is attached to the tree of death, and more than half of the power of self-explosion is borne by the tree of death. Immediately afterwards, 637 stone demons blew themselves up one after another. The roar continued to sound, and a large number of branches and roots were blown off. Huge holes were blown out of the tree. The bark of the tree had been smashed by fists long ago, and now even the flesh inside has been blown out of terrifying gaps. During the self-explosion, Lin Moyu saw a touch of greenery, followed by a strange breath. There is a powerful law of life in this breath. Law of life. Lin Moyu is very sensitive to the law of life, and he can clearly feel it immediately. In the center of the tree body is the emerald green tree core, which contains the law of life. No wonder the vitality is so strong that it hides the law of life. As long as the core of the tree is destroyed, the tree of death can be severely damaged. Lin Moyu swung the bone sword in his hand, and slashed at the tree core. Kill God. The sword light exploded on the tree core, and the tree core was cut into dense cracks instantly. The most troublesome thing is not the slaying blow, but the power of death in the law of immortality contained in the attack. The power of death penetrated into the tree core, eroding the law of life inside. The core of the tree was attacked, and the tree of death shook wildly. Countless vines whipped over. Lin Moyu turned back to his sword, swung out the sword screen, and cut off all the vines. The flame lich swooped in at this moment and plunged into the Minister of Time. In an instant, the flames soared into the sky, filling the entire tree of death. The tree of death let out a hoarse and ugly scream. Since the beginning of the war, Lin Moyu heard the cry of the tree of death for the first time. He knew that this time it really hurt him fundamentally. Be it vines, bark, or rhizomes. In fact, for the huge tree of death, it was just a skin trauma. Only the core of the tree is his real weakness. Even if all the vines are burned and cut off, it is better to stab the tree with a sword. It's just that the tree core is usually hidden inside the tree body, protected by thick shell, bark, and flesh, so it is difficult to hurt it. The core of the tree was only exposed during the stone demon's continuous self-explosion. The flame lich got into the core of the tree and began to die. The lawful galaxy projection in the sky poured flames again, and also got into the core of the tree. The entire tree of death instantly turned into a tree of flames, and the flames soared into the sky, like a pillar of fire rushing thousands of meters into the sky, continuously. Then, the flames began to spread outward from the tree, quickly spreading to every branch, every vine and all the roots. Lin Moyu could feel that the breath of the tree of death was rapidly weakening. But it is still making the last resistance, and it can be seen that a large amount of clear water full of vitality is being sucked by it, and it is also entering the core of the tree, trying to extinguish the flames. Lin Moyu chuckled, "I'll see you off for the last time." He swung the bone sword and rushed in through the hole in the tree. Like a drill, he punched all the way along the tree, rushing out from the bottom to the top of the tree of death. The whole tree core was torn to pieces by him. The tree of death screamed, its branches were unable to hang down, all the flying vines died down, and the roots were no longer active. Its vitality dissipated and ushered in death. A few seconds later, the huge body of the tree of death turned into a fly. 2 items had dropped from it. Lin Moyu picked them up, and one of them was the key to the deep area. The soul force flowed out and activated the key. The key disappeared, and there was an unspeakable aura on Lin Moyu. He knew that he was qualified to enter the deep area. Another item is a khaki branch. The branches are about the thickness of a thumb and about 30 centimeters long, and the clump contains a strong law of the earth. I checked it with the detection technique, but without any surprise, there was no result. The lowest desert appeared due to chaotic rules, and detection techniques generally would not give answers to the things in the chaotic rules. Lin Moyu pondered for a few seconds and put it away. Originally, he wanted to use it to summon an elemental lich. According to his observation, the branch is a very high-quality material. But after thinking about it, I didn't do that. Since it was dropped by the boss monster, maybe it will be useful in the future. Just like the crystal nucleus dropped by the monster before, it is useless in the outer area, but in the middle area, it needs the crystal nucleus to summon the leader monster. So will the material dropped by the boss monster play a role in the deep area? After the leader monster died, the sky returned to normal, Fireball became the ruler again, and the ground was covered by yellow sand again. All the traces of the previous battles were erased, as if nothing had happened. Lin Moyu stood in the yellow sand, not heading towards the deep area. Purple light flashed on his body, and his soul had just recovered from the collapse. During the battle, the realm was raised to the 9th rank of God King, and the soul was under tremendous pressure. If it wasn't for the high quality of his soul, he would have collapsed on the spot. After the leader monster died, Lin Moyu put away the original spells, and his soul finally couldn't hold back and collapsed. Under the talent, the soul was restored, and at the same time, a very strong soul power was harvested. This is the soul power absorbed by the original spell from the leader monster. At this moment, the talent giant tree and the 9-colored dragon's soul crystal are desperately refining and purifying this soul power, which will soon be delivered to Lin Moyu's soul. Lin Moyu closed his eyes and meditated, thinking about the process of the battle just now. There is no doubt that the Tree of Death is the strongest enemy he has ever encountered, giving him the illusion of going back to the instance to fight the boss. Lin Moyu reviewed the battle process to see if there were any flaws in his battle and whether it could be further optimized. If you encounter similar enemies in the future, can you solve them in a simpler way? He still has an enemy of life and death, no, more than one. The giant tree in the starry sky, even the family is his archenemy. Lin Moyu believes that sooner or later the two sides will meet. Using the Tree of Death as a reference, it may be possible to analyze the weakness of the starry sky giant tree. I was too conservative before, because I lost my original intention. Lion Botu also used all his strength to break the surface. I can't do well in these 2 points. If we use all our strength from the beginning, the Stone Demon, me, the Skeleton King, and the Lich may be able to catch the Tree of Death by surprise, leaving him no chance to deal with it. If I knew from the very beginning that the weakness of the Tree of Death is the core, then I would be able to break through the surface and directly address the weakness. The combat method is not perfect, and the knowledge is not perfect. When you go back, you have to check the information and improve your knowledge. At the same time, I am lacking in high-end combat power. If there is no Stone Demon this time, I am afraid that it will be difficult to solve the Tree of Death. But how to improve high-end combat power? Fusion technique, maybe we can start from this aspect. It is also necessary to collect some high-level starry space behemoths or the flesh and blood of alien races, in case of emergency. After reviewing the battle process, Lin Moyu also evaluated his combat power. It is not difficult to deal with ordinary 9th-level monsters of God Kings by themselves. Whether it is himself or the elemental lich, it can be easily dealt with. Especially the element lich, star lich and flame lich cooperate with each other, and almost all races of God Kings of the 9th rank can kill them. But if you encounter the boss monsters in the deep area, you will be powerless. Even the Tree of Death was fought so hard, the leader monster in the deep area must be the 9th level of the King of Gods, and its real combat power may be comparable to that of the little gods. Coupled with the vitality of the boss monster, even if he tried his best, unless he used his life-saving trump card, it would be really difficult to deal with. However, if you want to penetrate the deep area and enter the deepest part of the lowest desert, you must kill the boss monsters inside. It's no wonder that only the little gods have the opportunity to enter the deepest place. Besides, even a small god may not be enough. Zhu Qingyang may have done it with a team of many small gods back then. However, he failed to bring out the good news, which led to misjudgment by others, who didn't know the specific internal situation at all. With my current strength, there is still a gap. It seems that I need to improve my strength. Lin Moyu thought, if he could advance to the 9th level of the true god, then he might be able to deal with the boss monsters in the deep area by himself. Just as he was thinking, pure and majestic soul power poured in. The soul immediately felt bursts of warmth, like entering a hot spring, and the soul began to grow rapidly. His aura increased rapidly, and his realm took another step forward. The leader monster gave a lot of soul power. After Lin Moyu absorbed it, he was not far from the 9th level of the true god. Based on the calculation of the soul power, I only need to kill another 5 or 600 earth giants of the 8th level god king, and then I can be promoted to the 9th level true god. But in this way, the control over the laws seems to be insufficient. I can't help it, let's make it up later. After resting for half an hour, Lin Moyu walked towards the earth giant holding the bone sword. On the way to the deep area, there are a large number of earth giants, enough for Lin Moyu to kill the 9th level of the true god. He and the Skeleton King cooperated with each other without the need for the elemental lich to kill one earth giant after another. Crystal nuclei fell into his hands one by one, and Lin Moyu put them away. With the lessons learned from the past, without knowing the rules of the deep area, there is nothing wrong with keeping the crystal nucleus. 3 days later, a touch of greenness appeared in front of Lin Moyu's eyes, and the water element rushed towards him with laws. Lin Moyu came to the edge of the oasis and sat down, sucked up a stream of water into his abdomen, and the cool feeling spread all over his body. Even though he is fearless of the heat, it doesn't mean he likes the heat. Sitting on the edge of the oasis, looking at the junction of the two areas ahead. The breath from the deep area can already be clearly felt here. Lin Moyu ignored it for the time being, and changed to rest when it was time to rest. At the same time, I feel the power belonging to the 9th level of the true god, control this power, and completely integrate it into myself and into my soul. In these 3 days, he killed 600 giants of the earth almost non-stop, harvested 600 crystal nuclei, and at the same time pushed his realm to the 9th level of the true god. After reaching the 9th level of the true god, his mastery of the law reached 26%. If he further raised the mastery of the law to 30%, he would be able to successfully enter the realm of Godmaster. With his soul quality, stepping into the God King realm will be a smooth road, without difficulty at all. The only problem now is the degree of law control. If he continues to promote the promotion of the soul, and forcefully push up the control of the law through the promotion of the soul, he can indeed be promoted to the King of the Gods. But in this way, there will be fundamental instability problems. In a short time, nothing can be seen, but in the long run, it is not a good thing. Lin Moyu is well aware of this, and he must take every step firmly. So after he reached the 9th level of the true god, he stopped hunting any earth giants. From the 9th level of the true god to the king of the gods, the soul power required is huge. He turned this soul power into his own redundancy. After entering the deep area, they may still face uninterrupted fighting. Not only monsters, demons, but also boss monsters. He didn't want to fight around, and it would be bad if he suddenly became a god king. After resting for a while, Lin Moyu turned his head to look at the stone pile not far away. A hill-like pile of stones with strange runes engraved on them. Here is the exit of the lowest desert, and you can leave the lowest desert through this stone pile. There are such stone piles in every oasis, and Lin Moyu has seen them before. But the stone pile here seems to be a little different. Lin Moyu didn't get close, instead took a few steps back. It summons a skeletal god warrior and brings the god warrior close to the stone pile. Just when the skeleton warrior was 10 meters away from the stone pile, he suddenly disappeared. Lin Moyu has always maintained a connection with the skeleton warrior, and at the moment it disappeared, Lin Moyu opened the vision of the undead. In the vision of the undead, Lin Moyu saw a large piece of soul fire. Each group of soul fires are extremely vigorous and extremely powerful. Immediately afterwards, overwhelming attacks fell, and the skeleton god warrior collapsed on the spot. But in the next second, the undead mobilized, and the skeleton god war was immediately revived. This resurrection was obviously beyond the opponent's expectation, and he didn't react for a while. Just when the other party was in a daze, Lin Moyu saw the other party's appearance clearly. In the grey and white world, sand is flying in the air, and a sandstorm is raging. In the sandstorm, a stone demon with majestic aura stared at him with blood-red eyes. In the next second, the attacks fell overwhelmingly again, and the skeleton god warrior was killed again. This time Lin Moyu didn't bring it back to life, but let it go back to the house of trapped law. He already knew what was going on. He got up and left without stopping, turned into a ray of light, and disappeared into the vast desert. Dozens of dark figures appeared at the junction of the middle layer and the deep layer after Lin Moyu left. A stone demon of the 9th rank of the God King appeared, and his eyes swept over the oasis. Finding that Lin Moyu had left, they returned to the deep area in silence. Lin Moyu stopped after 1,000,000 kilometers away from the oasis. It seems that they already know about the massacre of the stronghold, and have prepared a trap for me. As long as I enter the deep area, I will be besieged. In case I choose to retreat and leave, when I approach the stone pile, I will also be teleported into the trap they set up earlier. It's very thoughtful. The stone demon's head doesn't seem to be that bad. Lin Moyu was talking to himself with a little teasing. Looking at the fireball above the head, the deep area belongs to the range radiated by No. 8 and number 59 balls. Although there are only 2 areas, their area is larger than the middle area and the outer area. Just now he entered the 8th area from the 6th area. But Area 6 is not only connected to Area 8, but Area 9 also has connection points. The deep area is so big, he can choose to enter from the number 9 area. In the same way, the trap set up by the stone demons will naturally fail. Normally, that's true. With the IQ of the stone demon, it is very rare to be able to set up the previous trap. Lin Moyu saw the direction and was about to move towards the number 9 fireball when he stopped suddenly. No, I'm too habitual thinking. The stone devil's head is not easy to use, but not all stone devils are not good at using their heads. It is not impossible for them to use their heads well. And it's not necessarily only stone demons inside, maybe there are other demons, smart ones. If you can set up the previous trap, then you can also set up other traps, and you can probably guess that I will move towards the number 9 area. The demons have many methods. Even if I go in from the number 9 area, I might be discovered or even surrounded by them. Even if they can't teleport me there, they might be able to teleport me. And I'm not familiar with the deep area, and I don't know what's going on inside. Lin Moyu thinks differently. If it were him who set up traps, he would have too many ways to surround the opponent. Although he has confidence in his own strength, he doesn't like being beaten by others. Lin Moyu immediately changed direction, and he walked towards Area 7. Among the 3 areas in the middle layer, Area 5 is jointly controlled by the Sand Clan and the Earth Monster Clan. Area 6 is occupied by demons. Area 7 is occupied by various races, and each small clan operates independently. Relatively speaking, it is more chaotic. But Lin Moyu has no scruples about this, as long as it is not a hostile race, as long as the other party does not provoke him first, he will not take the initiative to provoke others. If it is a hostile race, then kill it easily. If someone came to provoke him, he would also kill him. He wants to enter the 9th area by way from the edge of the 7th area. He didn't believe that the tentacles of the stone demons could stretch so long. Among the yellow sand, Lin Moyu turned into a streamer and moved forward quickly. The lowest desert is huge and restricted everywhere. Lin Moyu's speed has reached the limit. We encountered giants on the road, but Lin Moyu didn't kill them this time, just passed them by. When the earth giant fully recovered, Lin Moyu had long since disappeared, so the earth giant could only turn back into a statue. 2 days later, Lin Moyu saw the oasis again, which belonged to the number 7 area. There are 2 oases in Area 7, leading to different locations in Area 9. Entering the number 9 area from the oasis in front of you will be relatively close to the number 8 area. Farther away, there is an oasis, which can also enter the number 9 area. When Lin Moyu saw the oasis, his pace slowed down and gradually stopped. He chose to enter the number 9 area from here. Based on his thinking, if a smart guy really appeared in the stone demon, he would definitely guess that he might enter the deep layer from the farthest place. Then you can do the opposite and enter from a closer place. This is just one reason. The second reason is that there are other people here. It's not the sand race and the earth monster, but there are people of all races, and there are a lot of them. Because there is no unified action plan, a special situation has emerged here. From time to time, some people will withdraw from the deep area and return to the oasis to rest. After resting, enter the deep area to hunt monsters, obtain materials from monsters, and come back to understand the lore. This is safer, and if there is danger, you can also escape through the stone piles in the oasis. It's just that once you escape, all the keys will become invalid, and you have to hunt the boss monster again from the outer area to get the key when you enter the lowest desert. The whole process is very troublesome. These powerhouses who have information to enter the deep area are all existences of the 5th level of God King. And they often form small teams, and there are not many loners. Although they are all scattered members of the small clan, once the demon clan wants to deal with them, they will unite. Because they know that if they don't unite here, they will be killed or driven away by the demon clan. In the beginning, the number of scattered people was too small, and they were indeed suppressed by the demon clan. Later, as the number of scattered people increased, the scattered people gradually formed a large-scale team, and even the demons would not easily attack them. After all, besides the demon clan, there are sand clan and Jan monsters. So the sand tribe, earth monsters, demons and scattered people formed a strange balance here. Lin Moyu approached the oasis, and some figures gradually appeared in his sight. Open the vision of the undead, tens of thousands of kilometers apart, you can see clusters of exuberant soul fires. On the edge of the oasis, everyone is a powerhouse of the 9th rank of God King. They seem to be resting, adjusting their breath, and some are comprehending the law. There were also many people talking and the atmosphere seemed to be good. At this moment, Lin Moyu seemed to see the appearance at the door of the copy in the small world. There are also many people, also in groups of 3 or 4, either resting, or yelling and pulling people to form a team. It's just that most of the people here don't belong to the same race. Bull Demon Clan, Golden Eagle Clan, Black Iron Clan. The various races gathered together, and there was surprisingly no conflict. Lin Moyu found it extremely strange that some of the races were even hostile in themselves, and they surprisingly restrained themselves from doing anything. This scene is almost impossible in the big world. The approach of Lin Moyu attracted the attention of many people. Among them was a guy from the Golden Eagle tribe, who suddenly spread his golden wings and stood up abruptly. The Golden Eagle clan and the human clan are mortal enemies, the kind that will divide life and death when they meet. He stared at Lin Moyu, and Lin Moyu also stared at him, refusing to give in. The reason why Lin Moyu didn't take the lead is that the situation here is rather weird, and it's not suitable to disturb the people before finding out the situation. Moreover, it is difficult in the big world to kill a 9th-level Golden Eagle clan of God Kings, but it is not difficult in the lowest desert. The speed here is limited, and the greatest advantage of the Golden Eagles cannot be brought into play. So he became a bird in a cage, and Lin Moyu could crush him to death whenever he wanted. The Golden Eagles also didn't make a move. There was hatred deep in his eyes, but he restrained himself for some reason. Beside him, a bull demon clansman whispered, "Restrained, don't break the rules." Hearing this, the members of the Golden Eagle tribe gradually gathered their breath. He looked away from Lin Moyu, bowed his head in silence, and ate the food in his hand. Rule. These races are clearly hostile, but they can restrain each other. Is it because of the rules? Who sets the rules? Lin Moyu took the situation in front of him into his eyes, and he could recognize many races in it. Generally speaking, some can still be distinguished. For example, if there is no conflict between the Golden Eagle clan and the Bull Demon clan, they will get together. And if the Black Iron clan and the Bull Demon clan have a breakthrough, they will get closer to the race they have befriended, and at the same time avoid the Golden Eagle clan who have befriended the Bull Demon clan. And like the 3 silver races, the 3 races were originally combined together, and they are a group in themselves. There are also some plant-based races that will be mixed with the same plant-based races. The term, like attracts like, is perfectly interpreted here. Lin Moyu is very curious about the rules that allow so many races to live in peace. Many people cast curious eyes on Lin Moyu, and they didn't find it strange to see that Lin Moyu was only a 9th-level true god. Asking for flowers. They all felt that Lin Moyu used some special means to hide his real state. To be able to get here, at least the 8th rank of the God King, and the high probability of the 9th rank of the God King. However, because of Lin Moyu's identity, it still caused some comments. Haven't seen a human guy for many years. Yeah, didn't the human race give up this place? The human race has a sea of laws, how could it be possible to see this place? But why is there another human race coming over now? Is it that the bangs are gone? With the current strength of the human race, this kind of thing is unlikely to happen. Unless a freak like Xiao Zhangshan appears in other races. There were all kinds of arguments, but Lin Moyu ignored them and went straight to the edge of the oasis. He took a sip of water before re-observing carefully. His eyes fell on the stone pile not far away, and he didn't see anything unusual from the stone pile. There is no teleportation array and no traps in front of the stone pile. Thinking about it, no matter how powerful the demons are, they can't set up traps here. Just imagine that there are 100 or so powerhouses of the 9th rank of the King of the Gods, who will not agree. At this time, a faint fragrance wafted over, and a pleasant voice came from my ear. Hello. The voice is soft and waxy. Just by hearing the voice, one can tell that she should be a lovely woman. Turning his head to look over, he saw a good girl from the butterfly clan. Lin Moyu showed a kind smile. Hello. Butterfly women are very beautiful. It should be said that there are very few ugly ones in the butterfly tribe. Their beauty just grows in the aesthetics of the human race, which is very seductive. I am used to seeing yellow sand these days, and there are all kinds of monsters. It is rare to see a seductive woman, and it is worth admiring. The butterfly clan has a good relationship with the human race and is an ally of the human race. Lin Moyu didn't expect to meet the butterfly clan here. People in the butterfly clan are all majoring in the law of starlight, and not many practice other laws. But from this butterfly woman, in addition to the strong law of starlight, Lin Moyu also felt the law of the earth. It is clear in my heart that she has practiced two kinds of laws. It's just that the law of starlight is relatively strong, and the law of cause and earth is relatively weak. The butterfly woman said to Lin Moyu, "My name is Dai Xing'e. Our team is there. The deep area is very dangerous. Do you want to join us?" Lin Moyu looked in the direction she was pointing at, saw her teammates, and smiled. That's right.